Well, good evening. I'd like to welcome you to our virtual, first and I hope last, virtual freshman orientation for Ashwaubenon High School for the incoming class of 2024. This is also our orientation for any other incoming students. I'd like to welcome you all to Ashwaubenon High School. You're all Jaguars. Parents, I'd like to welcome you as well. Thanks for being involved. Students, some of you are coming up from Parkview Middle School, right across the parking lot. You probably know our building pretty well. Some of you are coming from other districts in the area. You may know a little bit about Ashwaubenon. Some of you are coming from districts all over the state, and a few of you even from other countries. So whether you know this district really well or whether this is your first time, I'd like to welcome you all. Very quickly, you'll all get familiar with the building. You'll all get familiar with how we do things, and I want to welcome you all as incoming Jaguars. Parents, I'd like to thank you for entrusting your students to us. Please know that we take very seriously the whole concept of caring for your children's education. I want you to know we'll love them, we'll take care of them, we'll push them, we'll challenge them, we'll work with you, and we appreciate your partnership in your child's high school education. Students, once again, you made it. Welcome to high school, especially freshmen. I also want to welcome not just the incoming students who are going to be here in person, but also the virtual students. Whether you chose the virtual option and will be learning remotely, or whether you chose the in-person option and you're coming to school each day, I want you to know you are equally important to us. We'll care for you, we'll take care of you. You're welcome to be involved in co-curriculars and events and things like that. You're all students here, you're all equal. Parents, working with your child and a child's education is kind of a three-legged stool. There's the student stool, the student leg, the parent leg, and there's also the school leg. And that all three legs are important. In high school, of course, the student leg becomes a little more important, but I want you to know as parents, your leg is still desperately important to making your child as successful. A bunch of ways that invite parents to be involved. First of all, we have a lot of parent involvement with co-curricular programs, volunteers. We have a Jaguar Backers organization. We have AMPA, the music backing organization. We have a few others for other co-curriculars. Some people may talk about that a little later on in this video, but there are multiple opportunities for you to get involved in the co-curricular activities of your students. Now, obviously this fall, some of our co-curricular programs have had to get pushed down the road a little bit because of coronavirus, COVID-19 things, but they're still there, they're still important, and they're still a very important part of a high school student's life, and those activities need parent involvement. Also, parents, I would invite you to be involved by working with your child in his or her education and learning. Every day, ask about schoolwork, ask about homework, ask to see homework. Don't just talk about homework and activities, but also ask about learning. The important thing is, what is your child learning? Have those conversations at the dinner table, in the car. The more you talk about learning, the more it's just going to become an important family part of your child's life, and that's an important thing to do. Also, get involved with your child's teacher. Each of your child's teachers will send home a syllabus sometime in the first couple weeks of school, and along with all the information about the class, there will also be contact information for the teacher. Phone number, email, things like that. I would encourage you, if you have questions, if you have requests to make, if there are unique things about your child that you know but we probably don't know, let us know. That will only help your teacher work better with your child. And parents, I want to welcome you too to the school community. Back to you, students. I've got some challenges for you. And these challenges we have given to incoming classes for many, many years, at least 20 years now. I'm going to ask you to think of a couple challenges. Students, how are you going to leave your mark as individuals, and how are you going to leave your mark as the class of 2024? How are you going to leave your mark as a student? How are you going to leave your mark as a citizen of this community? How are you going to leave your mark in co-curricular and extracurricular participation? How are you going to leave your mark as a future employee and contributor to our economy? These are all important things, and these are all things that high school is for. And we challenge you, if you're not sure how you're going to leave your mark, start planning, start working. Okay. I'm going to introduce some people, some of whom are going to speak in the rest of this video, some of whom are not going to be here with us today. I'd like to start off with a welcome and a thank you to Mr. Kurt Weyers. He's the Ashwaubenon School District Superintendent. Many of you, of course, will remember him from Valley View if you were students there. He used to be your principal. I'd like to introduce Mr. Nick Sanger. Mr. Sanger is Associate Principal and Activities Director, very involved in classroom things, but also directing our co-curriculars, musical, athletics, those kinds of things. You'll see him around a lot. Ms. Schneider, Associate Principal with Student Services. A lot of you will get to know her. Used to teach math in the building, and so some of you or your parents or older siblings may know her. We have 3 counselors and 1 social worker assigned to the high school, and I want to give you their names and titles as well, just so that you know. Ms. Rockstro, counselor, works with students from the first part of the alphabet. Mr. Hilbert, counselor, works with students in the middle part of the alphabet. Ms. Ballard, counselor, works with students toward the end of the alphabet. And in addition, we have a new social worker, Ms. Breeze, who will be working with the social work needs of students and families throughout the alphabet. I'd like to welcome them. Another name, parents and students, you probably should know from the front office is Ms. Tracy Everetts. She's our health and attendance secretary. If you have to call in sick, if you have medical things, if you have medication that has to be dropped off, Ms. Everetts is the person you're going to want to talk to. Another name I'd like to share is Mr. Averbeck. Mr. Averbeck works with our computer technology integration services. He's very involved in Chromebooks, devices, access, things like that, and he's very helpful in helping us know how to use the bring your own device or a school Chromebook or things like that. With that, I'd like to welcome you to Ashwaubenon High School. Freshmen, you're going to get some more information about what the first couple days of school are going to be like specifically to you. So if you're wondering about those first few days, stay tuned for some updates from our Link Crew leaders. And as always, we welcome you to Ashwaubenon High School. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to us.
Hello, I'm Nick Sanger, Activities Director and Associate Principal at the high school. As you can see behind me, pride, tradition, and excellence are what we want to instill in your sons and daughters. Welcome, freshmen, class of 2024. I'm excited to get to know you, and I'm excited for school to start. Part of my role is overseeing our co-curriculars. We have over 20 activities, athletic teams your son or daughter can join. We have over 30 clubs your son or daughter can join. It's important that your son or daughter get involved at the high school. We want their involvement for their mental health and their physical well-being. So please, take advantage of the co-curriculars we have to offer. Now, this year, 2020-21, is certainly a different year, certainly a strange beginning to high school. Our fall sports have been moved to the spring. Yes, our fall sports have been moved to the spring. Our AD group in the Fox River Classic Conference is doing everything we can to make this work and to make this a possibility. Again, our goal is to provide those opportunities for your children to participate. Please take advantage of this in-between time where you can make sure you get your physical and go on our website and get your information put in for the co-curricular code. Parents, you can get involved too. We still want and need your involvement. Our JAG Backers organization supports all our activities and all our athletics. Over the last 10 years, JAG Backers has raised over $500,000 and given it back to our programs, from athletics to activities. Patty Kiewicz is our leader of the JAG Backers. They have meetings the third Monday of every month. Please check the newsletter for the location of this meeting. Our AMPA organization, the Ashwaubenon Music Parents Association, is also another great program to get involved in if your son or daughter is involved in our music program. Parents, your involvement is needed. Students, your involvement is needed. Please remember that pride, tradition, and excellence are what we strive for and what we will push for over the next 4 years. Remember, you are now all Jaguars. I look forward to seeing you next week and learning your names and getting to know you over the course of the year. Thank you.
Hello, AHS new parents. My name is Jamie Averbeck. I am the Instructional Technology Coordinator for the Ashwaubenon School District. On the screen, you can see my contact information. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions. And I'm going to hopefully go through a few things that'll help answer any questions you have around technology at the high school, specifically to our one-to-one program. So as I just said, we do have a one-to-one Chromebook initiative at Ashwaubenon High School. And what that means is that every student should have a device. At AHS, all students can either rent a school-provided Chromebook or they can bring their own device. If you choose to rent, there is a $75 rental fee, and that covers all accidental damage on the device. So the only tech fines that will apply will be if there's any kind of purposeful damage, and you would be responsible for that up to the replacement cost, which is around $300. And if you lost or damaged your power cable, which is around $20. But other than that, if there's an accidental, screen break or a key break, something like that, all of that is covered in regards to that $75 fee. If your student's Chromebook is damaged, it's really important that they bring it into the library as soon as they can, so we can get that repaired and fixed and get them a loaner so that the learning doesn't stop. So please, 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 if there is damage, the sooner you can communicate that to us, the better. As I said earlier, you can bring your own device if you choose not to rent. The preferred BYOD is a Chromebook, just because at the high school, we predominantly are a Google Apps for Education school district. So all of our teachers will be using things like Google Classroom and Google Meet, as well as Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. So having a Google Chromebook is probably your best option. That being said, any computer or tablet with a keyboard is good to go to. I mean, as long as it has Google Chrome on it, so things like a Windows-based PC laptop is great. A Mac, like a MacBook Air or any kind of Macintosh laptop is great. We have had lots of students that have used iPads with keyboards and have done just fine. So, so all those are options. But what isn't an option, a cell phone does not count as a BYOD. You need to have a computer or a tablet with a keyboard, or rent a Chromebook from us. So in PowerSchool, all parents, if you haven't already, you need to complete our technology e-collect form. Many of you went in and filled out the form where you chose the district plan or the virtual plan. In the process, you probably filled out a series of other forms, and one of those forms asks you, are you going to rent or BYO, bring your own device? If you selected rent, that's going to generate that $75 fee in e-funds. So make sure that not only do you select rent and you process it, the e-collect form, that you also go into e-funds and pay off those student fees. If you have any questions on how to do that in e-funds or you need help, Rebecca Bassett is our e-funds contact, and I have her email address right here. So you can pause and grab that from the video if you need to. But students who have selected rent and have paid their rental fee will pick up their Chromebooks in the high school library as part of their link activities the first few days of classes. So that first week of class, when the kids are coming in, there'll be activities, and one of those stops will be at the library, and they'll get their Chromebook then, as long as they have selected rent and have paid their fee. If a student comes and that hasn't happened, our library staff will let them know what part of the process you're missing, and then we'll work through that as soon as we can. So the expectation, whether you rent or bring your own device, all of you in that process in PowerSchool will have agreed to our district responsible use policy. In layman's terms, what that really states is that you're going to use the school device as it's intended, meaning you're going to stay away from malicious activity. Here at AHS, we really promote digital citizenship. I'm sure someplace else in this video, Mr. Ribbons is going to talk a lot about volunteer hours and being a really good high school citizen. Same thing with technology. Whether you're online in a Google Meet or in person, we want our students to treat each other with respect and really use our devices educationally and with that purpose in mind. The other two big expectations are, and this year's different with our in-person and learning remotely days, is you need to have your device ready to go for both scenarios. So you need to have your device at school charged every day when you're in person. You need to have your device at home and charged, ready to go every day you're learning remotely. If you're having issues with either one of those scenarios, the library is going to be your place to go. Okay. At the end of this presentation, I'll have contact information. If home internet is an issue for you, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will connect you with our student services team to make sure that we can connect you with there's a lot of community resources right now about helping families with home internet, as well as the district has some means to help all of our families in need. But the expectation is that our students have their devices and that they can connect. So remember, digital citizenship and device availability, that's what our teachers are expecting every day. So let's say you have some issues. Where do you go for help? At AHS, the library is going to be that place. Mrs. Matthews, our librarian, she wants to welcome the class of 2024 to the building. Our library is open 7 a.m. to 3:15 every day. That's where you should stop if you have any issues. Ms. Matthew also wanted me to let you know all freshmen should have an email through your school Google account. If you don't know that yet, don't worry. That first day of school will get you that account information. But you will have an email that's going to talk about how we're checking out books in the library safely this year and what that process is. So make sure you check your email. But as I could restate again, any Chromebook issues, please bring them to the library and we'll work through that process. We do have loaner Chromebooks available for short gaps if we have any damage or issues going on. But we know how important it is, especially this year, with some of us learning remotely, that device is going to be our gateway to school. So it is just paramount that your device is working properly and you have access to it. So if you don't, please bring it to the library so we can help you through that. And then finally, that's it. That's my spiel. So I really, again, want to thank everyone. I'm excited to see the class of 2024 in the building. If you have any questions, if it's about Power School, Mandy Schrader is going to be your contact, and her email is right there. If it's about eFunds, it's going to be Rebecca Bassett. Her email's there. Any just general technology questions, or actually any general questions, feel free to send my way, and I'll make sure that the right person gets the email if it's not me. And then at the high school specifically, any tech-related or library help questions, Nadine Matthew, our librarian, is going to be our point person there. So again, with that, welcome, class of 2024. It's going to be a great year. Let me know if I can help. Thanks and have a great day.
Welcome to our Jaguar new students, transfer students, and their families. Just a couple things I want to go over with you that are typically questions at our freshman orientation. First off, our phone policy. At the high school, our phone policy is that all cell phones are turned off and put away during classroom instructional time. If it is out, a teacher will take it and bring it down to my office, and there'll be a phone call home. The parent will have to come and pick that up. There may be times where a teacher asks you to take your cell phone out for a learning activity, and that's totally fine, but otherwise it should be turned off and put away, stowed in your backpack. Another thing I wanted to touch base with families about is vaping. We know that that's becoming more and more of a thing that young students are getting involved in. Unfortunately, it does happen in our building. And I just want to kind of give everybody a little bit of an education about what the vapes look like and what our response as a school is to an incident like that. So there's a wide variety of what vapes look like. These are just 3 different ones that I had the experience of confiscating this last school year. And the other thing that you should be looking for are the little cartridges that actually go into the vaping device, or the oil refills that fill up those cartridges. So just things to be watching for. If a student is caught with a vape in our building, they will be ticketed and they will be suspended. It's not something that we can have going on in our building, and just so you know, we will be watching for that. Another thing that I want to address with the families is that school safety is more important than ever, whether it comes to our COVID protocols, where we're asking people to wear their masks in the building and create social distancing between themselves when possible, washing and sanitizing their hands as often as possible. But it's also important in the aspect of, this is a building where we do fire drills and tornado drills, as well as active shooter drills, which students can experience those drills within the first several weeks of the school year so that everybody knows what's going on and how to stay safe and learning in our building. A couple of things about the schedules for this year. Your student will receive a schedule on their first day. Remember that the first 2 days of the school year, even though we're in the alternating schedule, will be for freshmen only. So green day would be on September 1st, and it'll be a yellow day for freshmen on September 2nd. You'll come to the field house, do a registration process, and at some point during the day, you'll get to go through your schedule. Please watch for more information about the lunches and how you order your lunch for your student that day. A normal schedule, which would start on Thursday and Friday of that week for our green and yellow students, would typically look like this. Your student will come to school from 7:28 until 9 o'clock. They'll have their first hour class. They'll then have a half an hour intervention period that we call academic focus period, where they'll be assigned to one of their teachers that they have for the term or the semester, followed by second hour, which is another 90-minute block. And then third hour is where we have our lunches. And this one's always a little bit confusing, a little funky. The lunch that your student is assigned to will be on their schedule that they receive on the first day of school. But after second hour, if you are assigned to a lunch, you would go straight to a lunch. You have about 25-30 minutes to eat your lunch, followed by your third block class and then your fourth block class. If you're assigned to B lunch, you would go from second hour to your third hour class. You'll have a 45-minute block, your 25 to 30-minute lunch, followed by the second half of 45-minute block of your third hour class, followed by your 90-minute fourth hour class. If you get C lunch assigned to you, then your schedule after second hour would be that you'd have a 90-minute third hour block, followed by your 25 to 30-minute lunch, and then you'd have your fourth hour 90-minute block. So that's something that the teachers always try to help the students work through, and certainly on the day of freshman orientation, teachers and link leaders will be going over that schedule with your student. Just a reminder that starting the second Wednesday of the school year, so September 9th, we will be starting a late-in schedule, so students will start school at 9 o'clock. This allows our teachers to do all the important collaboration and planning that it's going to take to make learning really what it needs to be this school year for all of our students. And our classes will be, instead of 90 minutes, they'll be right around 70 minutes. That's all for now. If you have more questions, please reference the welcome back announcements video that was sent out on Tuesday, or contact the administration with more questions. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.
Send money to school now allows you to pre-order meals for your children. Begin by logging into your account. Once logged in, click the Your Children tab. A list of your children will be displayed. Click on the Order button for the child you will be ordering for. Available pre-order dates are shown here. Select a date, then choose a meal. Once you select a meal, a checkmark will be placed next to the date showing the order has been received. If you change your mind, you can click the item again to clear it or select a different item. Continue selecting dates and meals. When all orders have been placed, press the Done button. You can now place orders for another child by once again selecting the Order button next to their name.
Hello, I'm Heidi Ballard. I am a school counselor at Ashwaubenon High School. My caseload includes the last names O through Z. I'm really excited for you to be a part of our community. Welcome to Ashwaubenon.
Hello, freshmen. I am Miss Rockstro. I am a school counselor here. I work with students that have the last name starting with A through HA. I work with students on career applications, college applications, resumes, real life issues, trauma, things of that sort. So anything you're going through, we can go through it together. I look forward to working with you and welcome to Ashwaubenon High School.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mr. Hilbert. I'm one of the school counselors here at Ashwaubenon High School. And if you remember from last year's registration meeting, I work with students whose last names are H-E through N. And I want to just pop in and say hello and welcome everybody to the event tonight. And hopefully you're having a good time and enjoying yourselves. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody and the school year starting. So enjoy the rest of your evening and hope to see you around the campus soon. Have a good night.
Hi, I'm Laura Breeze, the school social worker for Ashwaubenon High School. Looking forward to seeing you all at the start of the year.
All right, well, that about wraps up our virtual incoming freshman and incoming student orientation for the class of 2024. Again, welcome to Ashwaubenon High School. I'd like to thank the people who spoke and presented on other things. Just a reminder to freshmen, you will start on the first 2 days of school, freshmen only. If you're a freshman with the last name A through Lemke, you'll be here right away on September 1st. If your last name is Lemon through the letter Z, you wouldn't come until September 2nd. And those days are going to be a little bit unique. Freshmen, I'd like to end with a couple of promises from our school to you. Promise number one, I want you to know what we're about here is important. Learning is important. Please believe me on that one. Number two, you can do it. You can do the things that we're asking you to do. We're here to help you, but you can do it. And then the third thing that I want to promise you is at Ashwaubenon High School, we will not give up on you, even if you give up on yourselves. Make this your school. Make this a great year. I want to welcome you to Ashwaubenon High School. And now I'm going to put my mask back on and wish you a good evening.